Hi everyone, Diane from Bunnies-R-Us. Today I'm going to do a video on bonding. A bonding technique that you can use when you first get your adopted bunny, because when you first bring them home, obviously when you take them from here, they're usually between 8 to 10 weeks and pretty young and very scared. So I want you to feel comfortable when you first bring them home. I want your bunny to feel comfortable. So I'm going to do a video on some things that you can do when you first bring them home so they can kind of get used to you and get used to your scent. And of course I'm going to use the little babies, and we're going to kind of go through a couple things that you can do when you bring them home. And there is also a video I'm going to probably do a little bit later, how to bond two bunnies together. So if you do get two different bunnies, maybe not from here, like if they're not brothers or sisters and they never met, what are the techniques you can do to bond two different bunnies? And then I'm going to also probably do a video on how you can bond your bunny with different animals. So we're going to start with doing a bonding with the baby bunnies when you first bring them home. What are a couple things that you can do? All right, here we go. All right, when you first get your bunny, this is Viola. The first thing you want to do is they're so small and they're so cuddly, you just want to hold them, and you just want to squeeze them like a little teddy bear. But that's really not the fact. It is not good to hold a bunny constantly. I mean, you definitely want to hold them and get them used to your scent and stuff. But actually the best way to kind of do a bonding with them is you kind of just sit on the floor with them. They're just like little toddlers, and you just kind of sit and you let them come to you, and you let them get used to your scent. Because if they're not used to your scent, then that's when they're kind of afraid you're just like another animal to them, and you know, they just kind of put their guard up and they just don't want nothing to do with you. But they are like little kids. If you give them a chance to come to you, you will be more successful for them to actually come to you, and then they will start to love you and smell you, and eventually the bond will be really easy. So I do have all 6 babies with me. I have Gracie and Snowball, and I'm sure moms are outside, so they're probably not the happiest. So you can see, I'm gonna let them go. They're gonna probably try to take off on me, but let's watch and see if they actually start climbing up on me, just to kind of get to know me. I'm gonna sit on the floor with them like I am here, and of course you're not gonna have 6 of them running around and, you know, kind of having to supervise. Most of the time when I bring them in, they usually don't go past that rug, because they don't do good on this hardwood floor. So I'm not really concerned of them going any farther than basically this rug. They're going to probably make a little bit of a liar out of me, but their feet can't handle the hardwood floor, so I don't expect them to go too far. But basically all you have to do is just kind of sit here and kind of let them investigate. They have never been in the house, so this is definitely all new to them. They have no clue what it's like to be in here. They've been all raised in the grass. Gussie tried, but no, not gonna go. But this is how you do it. You just kind of definitely sit right here and let the bunnies come to you, just like Peaches is right now, and let them smell you. You know, you could try to pet them. If they don't run away, then they're okay with you petting them. If they run away, don't just sit there and keep chasing them. But because these guys are a little bit littler, I've got to kind of redirect them a little bit. But it's really simple. You just kind of have to just sit down with them. They're not like cats and dogs where you can kind of throw them up and pick them up and do whatever you want. They definitely all have their little bit of their attitudes. And just sitting here, they're getting to know me. They're starting to do my smells, but obviously they know who I am. So they're more interested in what's going on in the house than they are with me at this point. You can kind of just watch. They're so fun to watch at this age. This is all new. Where are you guys going? And then you can even sit here and have a couple treats in your hand if you want, and see if they'll come to you with a treat. And you can try that. But basically, you know, when you first get home, just kind of sit right here and just kind of let them investigate. And then if you have a cage, you could actually just kind of sit really close to your cage. You have your cage, you know, set up right here, and just sit right close to it, and eventually they'll probably start going right into their cage. Where are you going, Gussie? But as you see, I've got a couple that are actually trying the wood floor, but they're not going very far because I'm sitting here. They know who I am. I'm kind of like their mom. I'm the one with all the food, so they definitely ain't going to leave my side very far. But this is just easy, you know, and then you do this probably 10 to 15 minutes a day for a good week until they really get to know you. I would not advise you to pick them up a lot in the very beginning. You know, just even though you just want to and you want to hold them, and especially when you have kids, you know, because they are a little bit rougher with them, and you definitely want to sit down on the floor with your child even, and, you know, just kind of maybe do a barrier between your feet and let the bunny kind of go back and forth, get your child scent and get yours scent, and they just kind of will get used to you that way and get used to your child, and then your child will also get used to them, and they won't be afraid of them, and they probably wouldn't hurt them much. But like I said, these guys obviously are very little, and they're not going to go home for another 4 to 5 weeks. But bonding with the bunny is just really easy. And basically, like I said, you know, 15, 20 minutes a day, just kind of sit on the floor. And then a lot of times, you know, you can just sit down here, you can read a book, you can play with the toys. I mean, if you've got a child that's actually looking into them, just sit and let your child play on the floor and let your bunny kind of roam around them while they're sitting there on the floor. So that way, you know, your bunny is just kind of getting used to their scent while your child's still having fun playing. And that's usually the best option instead of having your kid constantly pick up the baby bunnies. Coral is almost the same size. A week difference, and they're already almost the same size. This is amazing. Get my leg out of the way. But that's basically it. I just want to kind of go over that. 15 minutes a day, sitting on the floor. You could do it maybe a couple times, so like maybe once in the morning, sit down with them for 15 minutes. Do it at night, sit down with them for 15 minutes. I would do that for a good week. And then eventually, you know, you could start to hold them and spend a little bit more time with them. But if they don't know your scent, that's just the hardest thing, because then sometimes they get more aggressive because they just don't like you because you're forcing love onto them, and they need to learn to love you. And that's the big thing with bunnies. You know, they have to learn to love you. They have to learn your scent. They have to feel safe. And once they get that little bond, you know, and it does take about a week to 2 weeks for them to really get used to things. But if you just sit with them on the floor, I mean, eventually, you know, like you've seen me, you know, I'm kind of picking them up. You can pick them up, put them on your lap like this, you know, pet them in their favorite little spots, and just kind of, you know, get your scent all of them. And if they want to stay, they're going to stay. If they don't want to stay, then Coral's just going to get right off and do what she wants. And because I'm not forcing her to stay on my lap, it actually becomes a better. Here, Gardner. Gardner is just a little pipsqueak. He is actually a little small. Not sure if it's he, but he's definitely a little bit smaller than the other ones. But he's starting to get a really more mobile, running away. Coral is just sitting right there in the middle and not wanting anything to do with the food. But I'm just kind of getting the treat. And this is another thing, you know, you just sit with them while they're sitting down here eating. It's just another bonding because I'm sitting really close to them. I'm not playing with them and I'm picking on them. I'm just sitting real close and just kind of letting them be them. And that's, you know, basically the main thing with bunnies. You've got to let them be them. You know, they just are more independent animal. You know, they definitely love to be held once in a while. They definitely love their kisses, and they definitely love attention. I mean, don't get me wrong there. You know, I'm just basically talking about the bonding when you first get your bunny, any kind of bunny, you know, either from me or from anyone else. You definitely just got to give them room, because if you don't give them the room, they can pass away out of just scared to death. And you definitely don't want that. So, you know, a lot of it is just letting them explore. You know, even the very first day, you probably don't even want to do this technique. When you first bring them home, just kind of put them in their new home. Let them smell out that home. Let them kind of get used to that. And definitely, that was probably the most that they need to do for the day, is just get to know their home. And then maybe the next day, kind of get them out and start sitting with them and petting them and just kind of spending a lot of floor time. But bunnies are definitely just like having little kids. You definitely a lot of floor time. Gardner, you can't see, but he's over here eating my foot. But because Gardner and Coral are still a week younger, they'll be 3 weeks next Monday, so they're only 2.5 weeks. They're more just kind of investigating and seeing what's going around, while the bigger ones are just going to sit here and eat. But, you know, I'm just going to kind of pet them off, let them know it's okay. And I also gave you a sheet, you know, where they like to be pet and where they don't. I mean, if I just sit here, they don't like their bellies kind of touched. They kind of run away. Right now, as their babies are not too bad. They definitely like behind the ears. Yeah, you just stop right there. You got like their ears rubbed. They like the top rubbed. Yeah, and they like their little cheeks rubbed. All right, guys. And as you see, we have been working on potty training. So I'm actually real impressed that not one of them has had an accident yet in here. And I don't know how much they're used in the litter, especially these 4, because they do have a litter box in there, but Mom wants nothing to do with that litter box. So she's not a good teacher when it comes to teaching them how to litter train. So that'll be definitely probably something you'll have to work for more if you end up with one of these. But what I do is when they poop on the floor, Snowball is very famous of just pooping wherever she wants. When I go in there and clean it up, I just actually take the poop and I throw it right into the litter box, so they're actually smelling it in the litter box. Hopefully they're going to start using it. But they are kind of showing me that they are doing really good, because we do not have any poops on the floor. So I think we're actually doing really good with the potty training. Alright guys, I think it's time to get these babies outside, because they are used to being outside. They're not used to being inside. It is probably the same temperature as it is outside. It is in here right now, so that's a good thing. You definitely don't want a really, really, really hot day like we've had, like 90 degrees. Bring them in and then bring them back out, because that is what causes a lot of health issues, because their body can't adapt to temperatures really fast. So at that point, you know, when I had brought them in, there's a couple videos I've done where I had to bring my bunnies in because it was so hot this year, where they stayed with me inside for a day or so until the weather outside kind of was the same as the inside. So that's one thing you definitely have to watch for if you decide you want outside and inside bunnies. Make sure that temperature is kind of the same. If they've been outside and it's 70 all the time and your house is 70, then you're good. But again, you know, if it's outside, it's totally freezing out, and you bring them in and it's 70 in your house and it's below 0 outside, that's also another health issue. So they are just very, they don't adapt to certain things. You know, like certain vegetables can bother them, weather can bother them, and you know, there's just a lot of little things, because their systems and their bodies are just so little. There's certain things that they cannot handle. But anyways, I wasn't going to do a video on weather. We ended up doing a bonding and a weather video. So hopefully you learned something out of this video and it didn't get too long. So again, thanks for watching. Alright babies, let's all go back in so we can go outside. We're going to go outside. 1, Cassie, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And who do I got? I got Peaches. And Viola. And Augusta. Come here, baby. ready to go back outside.